Happiness is being in line with our nature. Happiness is, if you guys ever get a chance to study beyond that, happiness is what they call the summa bonum, the greatest good. Happiness for us as Christians is to be with Christ in heaven. Happiness is to be in line with our nature. Whatever we were designed to do. In other words, let's, by way of analogy, say a train cannot be happy off the tracks. What would it do? It would sit there. It can't roll in sand. So if it's, I said in the beginning, by way of analogy, let's say, so I can make the comparison. Okay? Do you understand? So that's not important. The happiness wasn't the aspect of this. Questions left unanswered. There are 3 reasons, very important reasons, Margaret, why questions are left unanswered. You asked me to let you know when something was really important. I didn't say anything yet. This is like a comedy routine here. 3 reasons why people leave questions unanswered. The first one is dullness of mind. That does not mean the person is simply unintelligent. It could mean that, but it could also mean that not everybody is competent in every field. All right? You might be competent in physics, maybe you're not the best in languages. You might be really good in art, maybe you're not the best in math. Make the comparisons, but nonetheless, there are people who simply don't have the wherewithal. Not everybody's IQ is the same. And then there are those who simply, it's not their thing. So dullness of mind. The second reason, the anxieties of life. Think of our gospel today with the parable. All right? Yes. The second one, anxieties of life. In other words, your parents, they get up in the morning, they get ready, they may drop you off here or get you to the bus, whatever, however it works. They run to work. They get home, they have to run you to whatever your activity or sport is, and then they're cooking dinner, and then you might have another thing, or your dad might have a Knights or a Lions Club meeting. They get back, you're trying to take care of some family stuff, it's 10 o'clock, got to check email. That is no way to contemplate the greatest things in life, all right? Nonetheless, anxiety is like the third one is simply indifference. The third one is indifference. You just don't care. So you might have questions unanswered. Maybe there's not the wherewithal to understand it. Maybe you have too many other things going on to think about it. Or maybe you just simply have the personality where you don't care. All right? You leave those questions unanswered, they will lead to a doubt of your belief. You will get to the point where you start to say to yourself, you know what? For whatever reason, I'm not quite sure I believe that anymore. Why? There's some contradictions in Scripture. Well, I probably should look it up and see what those are, but you know what? I don't really care. At some point, it festers, and you start to doubt your belief. It's just a natural progression of how it would go. You start to doubt your belief, you start to lead to relativism. All of a sudden now, what I believe is no different than what that person believes. They're really just two of the same. That's their opinion. This is my opinion. So we all kind of have an opinion. It's all kind of relative. Well, I was born Catholic. I wouldn't be Catholic. And they were born that, or they wouldn't be that. And they were born, Jewish, or they wouldn't be Jewish. What does it really matter? It's all relative. You start to rationalize that out. Once you start getting to that point, it will bring you to a level of indifference. You'll get to the point where you start to say, well, you know what? They're all kind of the same. Maybe it really doesn't matter either way. Maybe none of it really matters. You start to say to yourself, well, if I had these, doubt, the doubt's leaving me, well, maybe if I have doubts about my own, I have doubts about theirs. And maybe it's all the same. Well, maybe none of it really matters. It's just a natural progression as you may go down. Okay? Indifference, then, can go a couple different ways. This word nihilism, just know it means nothingism. Okay? Nihilism is nothingism. It means nothing. Friedrich Nietzsche, this is him. Whatever his path was, I don't know his whole story, but he got to the point where, he says, there is nothing. You're born, you live, you die, end of story. You say it nihilism. Really nihilism, but... What's that? You wouldn't say you would say nihilism? Nonetheless, Friedrich Nietzsche was very liberated like this. When he came to the conclusion, Nietzsche, Nieitsche, just relax. Don't worry about it. Look, when you guys press like this, it makes it worse. You got to flow with the thought, okay? This makes sense. You got to flow with it. He gets to the point where he says nothing exists and he's liberated. God is dead. There's no morality. If there was no morality and no God and no eternal punishment and no eternal reward, then go by means. If you have the chance to cheat, cheat. If you have the chance to steal, steal. If you have the chance to have an affair, have an affair. What difference does it make as long as you don't get caught? If nothing exists, then there's no morality. For him, it was liberating. For another guy named Jean-Paul Sartre, it was devastating. Nothing exists. Nothing matters. It threw him in depression. This guy wound up committing suicide eventually. But do you see? What's that? Nietzsche. Or he died of a sexual disease. I can't remember. It was pretty devastating how he died. What's that? He was smoked. I can't remember exactly. I can't recall right now how he died. Or the indifference will lead to skepticism.
So he was gay?
No. Not that I know of. Skepticism. If you'll get to the point, guys, where you will say nothing exists, or maybe you grew up in a Judeo-Christian culture in the United States and you're not ready to jettison everything you've ever believed, so you're going to kind of believe in God, but you're going to say, I just don't know how you can know that. Okay? So you're going to wind up in one of these two camps. There's nowhere else to go. This thing festers and brings it down. If you wind up with nihilism, you wind up being an atheist. Yes, Mackenzie. Yes, you may. If nothing exists, and obviously you said there's no God, by default, you now are an atheist. Okay? Skeptics, maybe not. They'll be agnostics. I don't know that there's a God. Now here's something that you'll want to know, not just for me, but you'll all want to know this for whatever boards you do for word stuff. Anytime you see an A in front of a word like this, it means no or not. Okay? Whatever follows. In Greek, they say the G very silently and swiftly. Gnosis is knowledge. No knowledge. I have no knowledge. Okay? I don't know if God exists. I have no knowledge. You could picture the word theism, theos, God. No God, not God. So you're going to get to the point, no knowledge. If you leave questions unanswered, it's like a wound that festers. And you don't treat that wound, it gets worse. It will lead right down, and you will fall in one of these two camps. Okay? Okay, on your sheet of paper, write down your name and period number. And then what you're going to do is this.
Depending on what you say, I'll write my name and period number.
Well, this counts towards your class participation. So, these are very simple questions. No, listen. Listen to me. You are not going to have time to do this if you talk. You have 10 minutes. You have 9 minutes now. Listen. You don't need to write down what the question is. Write down 1, 2, 3. These are simple answers. You should be answering them as you're listening. What? They're on your sheet. As you hear these, answer them. Okay? And the first one is, what is the opening statement? So, FYI, listen at the beginning. Okay? And Mackenzie took off.
By killing God, humanity